What's up, football fans? I'm Youth One National Scouting Director and football editor, Al Pops, here with my West Coast man, Ryan Lance. This week at Youth One, we're breaking down the FBU National Championship. It's the biggest party in youth football. We're here to preview all 64 teams and the top players in each region with the best chance of making an impact in this year's tournament. Today, we're taking a look at the Plains region, which is broken down into 4 regional sites: Denver, Dallas, Des Moines, and Austin. Let's start with the teams in the Denver bracket. First up, we have Team Kansas City, Kansas. They're led by head coach Marty Schneider. Now, last year, Team Kansas was split into 2 teams, Team Kansas and Team Wichita, with Team Kansas going all the way to the 3rd round. This year, the players to look out for start with their most dangerous player, Jalen Williams, a 6'2", 180-pound defensive end and tight end that has dominated one-on-ones both offensively and defensively throughout the tryouts. Another player to keep a look at, or keep an eye on, is Julian Chavez. He's a defensive lineman returning from last year, 5'10", 205 pounds with a great motor. Offensively, the team will be led by Graham Mertz, a 6'1" quarterback, and he's expected to lead the team. Mertz has a strong arm, and he has good size with a great football IQ for being so young. A couple other players to take a look at will be running backs Dylan Downing and Jacob Hunsberger. Both bigger backs, both will be a load to tackle. 2 other linemen to take a look at will be Isaac Helms, a 5'11", 220-pound offensive and defensive lineman, and Dante Smith-Posey, an offensive lineman with great size in the 6'1", 225-pound range. So that's Kansas City, Kansas. Ryan, why don't you tell us about the team they'll be facing, Team Denver, Colorado.
Rocky Mountain High, Colorado. Rocky Mountain High, Colorado.
Team Denver will be led by head coach Ken Marchiol. Team Denver will be led by a pair of Elite 101 members in offensive lineman Dominique Piloto and running back Josiah Davis. Piloto is a 6'1", 254-pound prospect who will most likely play center and was ranked number 87 on the Elite 101. He's a big body up front that Davis will run behind all tournament long. Josiah Davis is a 5'10", 171-pound running back who was a 7th grade East Bay Youth All-American a season ago. He's a very athletic and agile running back who has the speed and vision to make players miss. He'll be the team's main offensive weapon come tournament time. Davis should find plenty of success running the ball because joining Piloto on the offensive line is 6'3", 210-pound guard Barrett Miller and 6'4", 283-pound tackle Evan Durbin. Miller is versatile and athletic enough to pull, while Durbin is a fundamentally sound lineman who does a great job opening holes and protecting his quarterback and pass protection. Leading the offense will be quarterback Alex Padilla, who is a 5'10" quarterback who is a very tough competitor who can play both sides of the ball. He's a returning starter from a season ago, and the team will rely on his leadership and high football IQ during the tournament. Finally, Angelo Marchiol will be a standout player to work on the defensive side of the ball, as linebacker is a tough, hard-nosed competitor. He's the brother of 3-time East Bay Youth All-American and prize 2017 recruit Santino Marchiol. Other players to watch include Caden Keefe, who is a flanker slot wide receiver and a multi-year Top Gun invitee, Ethan Zemla, who is an outside linebacker and tight end who stands 6'1", is a good-sized target and can make plays, and Corbin Curry, who's a 5'10", fast wide receiver who's been tearing up the local leagues in Colorado.
Last year, there was no Team Southern Colorado, so for these athletes, it's their first chance at winning an FBU National Championship. A couple players to watch will be Lucas Andrada, a quarterback that's been groomed to play the position since he was 4 years old. His father is a high school coach and has taught him a lot of little idiosyncrasies that will make a quarterback great. Other players to take a look at: Jaden Cordova, A wide receiver, fast and talented kid. He fixes to be the go-to target for Team Southern Colorado. Two other players to pay special attention to: Jerome Avalos, wide receiver, defensive back, and on the line, Brandon Samora. He's going to be anchoring the offensive and defensive line, bringing the most size to Team Southern Colorado. Three other players to watch: Kane Medrano, a running back and linebacker, Dominic Robles, and Cayman Gallardo. Ryan, why don't you tell us about Team Northern Colorado?
Lone Star Rider, baby. Ya sabes, when you see me, I'm riding in Texas. I'm a Lone Star Rider, I'm riding low.
Moving on to the Dallas region, our first matchup features North Texas taking on Dallas-Fort Worth. For Team North Texas, they made it all the way to round 4 last year, losing to Iowa, who eventually went on to the championship game. For North Texas, they are absolutely loaded, and head coach Todd Cadwalder has a ton of weapons to use. First up, TJ McDaniels, brother of Notre Dame starting running back Cam McDaniel. He's got a lot of athletic ability. He's strong. He's got some good speed. Can be lined up as a wide receiver as well if they need him to be. But McDaniel's going to be a solid running back. Another running back option, Noah Kane, 5'11", 195-pound running back with great size. LSU already showing some early interest in him. Another running back for Team North Texas, TJ Daniels. We had him ranked number 21 on the Elite 101. A big, bruising, fast back. One of the top kids what we've seen in the 2019 class. Also for North Texas on the line, they'll be led by 6'7", 250-pound 8th grader Jonah Brewster. Dominant left tackle, has gotten much better, much quicker, long arms, great pass blocker. He's going to be a tough player to get around. Also on the line, look for Cullen Perkins, another Elite 101 kid on the offensive line, playing guard, tackles, or center, very versatile, or nose guard. A couple other players to take a look at for North Texas: Dylan Cadwalder, a 2-time Top Gun quarterback, Brandon Theus, a wide receiver, Logan Rayburn, a wide receiver, Quay Ludd, a good pass rushing defensive end, Ricky Figuerel, an outside linebacker and fullback, and rounding it up is defensive lineman Colin Alves. Now, Ryan, North Texas has a lot of standout kids, several Elite 101 members. Why don't you tell us about the team they'll be taking on, Team Dallas-Fort Worth.
I do this for my city and everyone in it, every single side of the Fort Worth city limit.
Leading the way for Dallas-Fort Worth is a pair of Elite 101 members in Joseph Carter and Jaden Jernigan. Carter, who is ranked number 4 in Elite 101, is a big running back at 5'11", 180 pounds, and has been clocked as low as a 4.7 40. Jernigan, who's ranked number 12 on Elite 101, is an explosive pass rusher who is unblockable at times and will be looked upon to anchor the defensive line. He'll play both defensive end and tight end as he's 6'2", 200 pounds. Devin Butler and Velton Gardner are listed as quarterbacks for the team. Both athletes are versatile and will be used in a number of different positions. They will both see some time under center, and Gardner will play wide receiver as well. He's a kid who is very quick and athletic and has great vision and athletic ability. Another wide receiver to keep an eye on is Theo Wace, who has tremendous hands, speed, and jumping ability. Blocking up front for Butler and Gardner will be 6'2", 240-pound left tackle Elton Namda Ogar. He dominates the line of scrimmage and is great in both run and pass blocking, and will have no problem creating lanes for the running backs. On the defense side of the ball, hard-hitting linebacker Yuri Welsh will anchor a defense that is improved from a season ago. He's got a knack for finding the football and fills the hole very quickly. He'll be joined by Jalen North, who is a 6'3", 260-pound defensive tackle or end that is great on the interior line. He eats up blocks, which will also allow Welsh and his other linebackers to scrape behind him. Another player to keep an eye on Dallas-Fort Worth is Corbin Johnson, who will play running back.
The second matchup from the Dallas region features West Texas taking on the host team, Team Dallas. For Team West Texas, these are the kids from Friday Night Lights territory. Head coach Ken Sapien's got a number of talented kids who are looking to make the FBU National Championship their stage to show out. Leading the way will be Sudden Sapien, a 6'3", 180-pound quarterback who is going to be a star on the high school level. Great size, obviously the son of head coach Ken, good football IQ, very mobile, big, tough kid that stands in the pocket but can also take off. Just somebody that we really, really want to watch in this tournament. Also on West Texas, big offensive lineman Bryce LaForge. We're talking north of 265, 270 pounds, about 6'1", really a big roadblock, going to do some good blocking, be a force on the defensive line, really going to help support the line for both sides of West Texas. Two other weapons to look at defensively will be Cameron Gonzalez, a defensive back. We'll also see time at wide receiver, but has the ability to shut down opposing receivers from his defensive back spot. Linebacker Alex Rubio, no stranger to the FBU National Championship, as his cousin played last year for Team West Texas, so he knows about the level of competition that there will be. Rounding it out, probably with West Texas's most lethal offensive weapon, Rodrigo Uras, 5'11", wide receiver, tall, quick, plays with reckless abandon, not really afraid to throw his body out there, crossing the field across the middle, and will definitely make some big catches for Team West Texas. Two other players to watch, Zach Morales at running back and Russell Church out of Odessa, Texas, playing wide receiver. Now that's it for West Texas, but they're taking on the host team Dallas, who last year lost a close game in round 2, but they're back this year, Rye. Why don't you tell us about Team Dallas?
It's them Cowboys, them Dallas Cowboys. It's them Cowboys, them Dallas Cowboys. It's them Cowboys, I'm a Dallas Cowboy.
Leading Team Dallas will be quarterback Carson Collins, who is a fundamentally sound quarterback and is advanced beyond his years when it comes to recognizing defenses and schemes. He's a great leader who has a strong arm and high football IQ. He'll have a trio of playmakers to get the ball to, as Danny Flaherty, Marcus Knox, and David Clayton will see some time at wide receiver. Flaherty is a tremendous athlete and was a go-to target for Carson during their regular season. Marcus Knox is a playmaker who has great hands and can make big plays when the team is in need, while Clayton is a kid who can do it all. He's an athlete who will see some time at wide receiver and running back, as he's got great playmaking ability and can take it to the house anytime he touches the ball. On the defense side of the ball, Team Dallas will rely on linebacker Anthony Orji, who is a big, strong, powerful athlete. He'll also see some time at running back as he punishes through people and fights for tough yards. Finally, Broderick Howard is an offensive and defensive lineman who has great motor and never stops moving and working. He'll be the leader on both the offense and defensive lines for Team Dallas.
The third regional site from the Plains region takes us to Des Moines, Iowa, where there's only going to be 3 teams playing to advance to the next round. So let's take a look. First up, Team Nebraska, led by head coach Jarrell Moreland. Leading the way will be Xander Gray. He's a running back, versatile, big running back, a bruiser, also a good basketball player. He's in the 5'10", 199-pound range. Don't close your eyes, because he'll play on defense as well. He'll be all over the field. Another player we want to look at, Ron Kraus, an offensive and defensive lineman with surprisingly good speed. He'll be a stable force on the interior line for both sides of the ball. Another player to take a look at as a weapon will be Gavin Lightshuk, a wide receiver and running back. Great hands, very quick feet. Smart kid who just knows how to be in the right place at the right time, understands how to come back to the quarterback if the quarterback's under pressure. Lightshuk is a very dangerous weapon, and they're going to work to get the ball in his hands. Two other players for Team Nebraska to take a look at, Ohidika Lohan, defensive end, versatile player with a lot of energy, and Kevin Trumbly. He'll play quarterback, he'll see time at safety, just sees the field differently than other kids. Great vision, and when throwing the ball, he's got some good accuracy and understands the game very, very well for being only in the 8th grade. Now, Rye, why don't you talk to us about the defending regional champions and the runner-up from last year on the 7th grade, Team Iowa.
Take a deep breath and I'm up in your end
zone. 816 boys, we reppin' connected with Iowa State. Play out of position and it's checkmate if you hesitate.
Leading the way for Team Iowa will be running back Trey Fugate. He led the team in touchdowns a season ago as he's a strong physical runner who's very quick and explosive in open space. Leading the team at quarterback is Bo Lombardi, who's a field general who has a great feel for the game. The 6'1" signal caller is great within the pocket and has great check-down ability when his receivers are not open deep. We'll have a trio of wide receivers to throw to that include Jalen Long, who is a 6-foot playmaker who has great speed and quickness, Grant Clark, who is a possession receiver who can get open across the middle, and Max Griffin, who has great hands and yard after the catch ability. Leading the way up front will be Ezra Miller, who is a 6'4", 250-pound lineman who was recently named an East Bay Youth All-American. He's got a great frame and is very physical while engaged with his opponent. On the defense side of the ball, the team will be led by linebacker Mitchell Williamson. He's a very talented and athletic player who will be the leader of this unit. Joining him at linebacker will be Ray J. Crawford and Cody Lemon. On the outside, Daniel Burnside will help shut down opposing teams' top receiving threats, while Mason Cassidy is another defensive back that will help defend against the pass. Finally, one other player to keep an eye on Team Iowa is defensive end Logan Crossman.
The third and final team at this regional site in Des Moines will be Team Minnesota, another group that did not have a 7th grade team last year, but this year they're coming to bring it. And when looking at these guys, you got to start with the big guys up front, and we're going to start with Alex Buckmeyer, a defensive end, 5'10", 175, very athletic player coming off the edge, was timed at a 5.28 in the 40-yard dash, which is pretty good for an 8th grade lineman. Good technique. An FBU camper, just gets the job done. Another guy on the defensive line, Andrew Yogi, 5'10", 260. A nice size on the interior defensive line. Also another kid that's been to FBU camps. Great using his hands, strong punch off the snap. Does a good job, his advanced technique. We really like Yogi. Another player, Marco Cavallero, a defensive tackle, also will see time at tight end. 6'3", 260 pounds, monster player. He's big, he's quick, he's strong. He's going to command a double team on that interior defensive line. Now moving to the more skilled players. We're going to go with Omar Brown at running back. 5'6", 125 pounds. Also going to see time at corner, but he's a smaller back with great potential as a running back. He really stood out at the FBU Minnesota camp this past year. Good quickness, good agility. If he can sustain the hits of the bigger players, he'll be a player to watch for Team Minnesota. Also, to look out for as running back will be Timothy Owen. Owen is probably the fastest and all-around best player on Team Minnesota this year. He's going to be playing backup wide receiver and quarterback as well. Very athletic kid. You can move him all over the field, just put the ball in his hands. Two other players to take a look at. Jerry Hall, a 6'4" wide receiver, more of a possession receiver with big hands. Look for him to eat up some yards. Jacob Bennett, a fullbacker and linebacker, strong kid. He'll get many touches to move the chains up the middle and on short yardage plays. And finally, Andrew Kramer, a running back, long and lanky, about 22 touchdowns this year, in the neighborhood of 5'9" and 140 pounds. Rounding up the Plains region, we're going to take you to our last regional site of Austin, Texas, where our first matchup features Team Houston taking on the host site, Team Austin.
And if you're from that H like me, you already know what I'm talking about. Houston, Texas, home of the Texas. Houston, Texas, home of the Texas. I'm from Houston.
Team Houston, they'll be led by Coach Tim Jackson. Last year, Houston had 2 teams. This year, they've cut that down to 1, putting the best talent on the field for this Houston region. Players to look out for Team Houston will be Brighton Thompson, a big physical defensive lineman who made the Elite 101 for the class of 2019 last year. He was also a member of all FBU Top Gun team this past summer. Another player to take a look at will be Kenyon Green, a versatile player that can play defensive end or defensive tackle. Extremely quick step, uses his hands very well, and is explosive off the ball. Rounding out the defensive side will be Braden Norris, a linebacker. Very, very muscular, very, very quick, plays sideline to sideline, will be a force in defending the run. We're going to move it on to the offensive side of the ball, where the Team Houston features a number of talented athletes. Starting with Samaj Trahan, a quarterback. His first year playing in the FBU National Championship Tournament, can be very, very accurate on the run. Look for him to make plays with his legs and his arm. He's going to be exciting to watch for Team Houston. One of his favorite weapons will be Christian Barrias, a wide receiver and defensive back. He might actually see some more time on defense, but Barrias has great hands and will certainly be a force, and they'll be looking to get the ball into his hands. At running back, Sherwan Butler. This is an inner-city Houston kid, first experience with the FBU family, and Butler is a tough kid that is going to run over some people in this tournament if he gets a chance to. He looks for contact. He's like a pinball. He's really fun to watch, especially on film. Can't wait to see what he does in the tournament. Two other players to take a look at will be Anthony Williams at fullback and linebacker, and then another player who's nursing an injury. We hope he's on the field for Team Houston. It's still up in the air right now, but if he is, remember this name, Leandre Davis, a running back. Was one of the top 5 running backs in the class of 2019. He made my Elite 101. Definitely a scary player. If he gets his legs healthy, he's going to be able to make some plays, and I guarantee he'll score at least 2 touchdowns for Team Houston. Right, that's Team Houston. Why don't you talk to us about the host team, the team that everyone's looking forward to seeing, Team Austin.
The home team, Team Austin, is led by head coach Jay Whitehead. Last year, they were a young and inexperienced team who had ball security issues, but they're looking to build upon the success and talent that they had from a season ago. Leading the team this year will be a pair of Elite 101 players in James Fulbright III and Austin Rodriguez. Fulbright III is an East Bay Youth All-American who is a big, strong, physical running back. He'll be one of the top playmakers on this year's team. Rodriguez is also an East Bay Youth All-American who will anchor the offensive line. He was a first-team All-Top Gun member who is a fundamentally sound player who has great technique and pass and run blocking ability. 2 other playmakers to keep an eye on are running back Donovan Brown and Trevante Kemp. Brown is a speedster with 4.87 40-yard speed, and he's a shifty running back that is gone once he hits daylight. He's a very impressive back who is an East Bay Youth All-American a year ago. He runs hard between the tackles and has the ability to get around the edge. Trevante Kemp is another running back with blazing speed. He's an AAU sprint champion who has great size and speed. He's a threat to score anytime he touches the ball and is deadly in the open space. Other players to keep an eye on include quarterback Gage Leggett and athlete Ryan O'Keefe.
And the final matchup of the Austin Regional site features Team San Antonio Red taking on Team San Antonio Gold. For the red team, we got a number of great kids to look out for, and you're going to start off with running back David Charles. He's got great size. He's very shifty, shaky, quick competitor. Has grown a lot in the last few years and helped his Judson youth football team reach the Texas Youth Football Association State Championship and his middle school to a district title. Another player on the offense to look out for will be Alec Contreras. Great speed, always moving upfield after the catch. Also dangerous in the special teams game as a kick returner and a punt returner. Moving on to the defensive side of the ball, look for Xavier Player to make some nice plays at cornerback. Great all-around athlete, was a FBU Top Gun attendee and actually made our second team all Top Gun. He's extremely fast and explosive, reads the field well with his eyes, very advanced, very great technique. We expect big things from him. Moving on to the big uglies on the offensive line, Nicholas Gonzalez, an offensive and defensive line, around 6 foot, 250, great footwork, understands how to make zone blocks, He's very advanced on his technique and how he gets up to the next level. Another offensive and defensive lineman that we're really expecting some big things from will be Jeremy Rodriguez. Great hand placement when firing off the ball. Feet work is outstanding for a kid this big. He understands the game very well. He will go on to play D1 if he continues to work and improve. He already has a size 15 shoe. Never really played youth sports, was always training, always working, and then only started playing football in middle school and has gone on to make a number of key blocks and key stops down there in Texas. So 2 more players to look out for San Antonio Red. Bryce Francis, a slender athlete. Look for him to make plays. And Rashad Wisdom, he's a 2-year FBU player, also at running back. He's going to be a good one to watch there. So that's the red San Antonio team. Ryan, please talk to us now about the gold San Antonio team.
This is for them boys down in Texas that be handling their biz. Get it how you live, shout it, you know what it is. Boys down in Texas do it big.
San Antonio Gold is led by head coach Jeff Tristan. The Gold team has a pair of running backs that may be the best duo in the region. Led by Marcus Capetillo, who is a 5'5", 140-pound running back, scored a bunch of touchdowns in last year's tournament. He's a very shifty ball carrier and plays much bigger and tougher than his size. He's got excellent speed and will be San Antonio Gold's top playmaker come this tournament. Joining Capetillo is Elite 101 running back Kyrian Grant, who is a bigger back who can run between the tackles and get out on the edge. He's an all-around playmaker who has a potential to have a big tournament. Another player to keep an eye on is Jackson Pickett, who is a big, promising-looking athlete. He stands at 5'10", 160 pounds, and will play both wide receiver and running back on this year's squad. Last year, he was an East Bay Youth All-American, and he's also a standout baseball player. On the offensive line, Brandon Brown is a big physical kid who is equally good at run blocking and pass blocking. He was also an East Bay Youth All-American a season ago. 2 other players to keep an eye on include a pair of defensive linemen that are Seth Jaquez, who's a defensive end, and Patrick Gray, a defensive lineman.
So you've seen it. Those are all 15 teams and the top players from the Plains bracket. Stay at youth1.com for coverage of the FBU National Championship and all things youth football. And don't forget to get in on the action yourself. Sign up for a Youth 1 player profile and get noticed today. For Ryan Lance, I'm Al Pops. We'll see you at the West Region.